called to order concurrently at 6 o'clock p.m. Pledge allegiance will be led by Commissioner Carey.
Please stand and face the flag. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag,
The United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, may we have the roll call?
Commissioner Carey,
Present.
Commissioner Ortiz, Commissioner Caraveo,
President,
Chairperson Smith,
Present.
Chairperson, Vice Chairperson Alshanable is excused. We have a quorum.
Okay, oral communications. Please note the rules for meeting decorum on the screen. In the interest of time, these will not be read, but be advised that the Planning Commission will adhere to these standards. This is the time for the public to address the Planning Commission and the Airport Zoning Commission for items not on the agenda. Please note that if an item is scheduled as a public hearing, you will have an additional opportunity to speak when the public hearing is opened or continued. Comments made now regarding items scheduled for a public hearing will not be included in the official record of public testimony for that item. If anyone would like to address the commission on items that are not on the agenda, please come up to the podium. Address your comments to the commission as a body and not to individual commissioners directly. Only very brief responses may be given to questions asked on topics not on the agenda. Please keep remarks to 3 minutes. I have a couple of speaker cards.
Want to acknowledge one.
So the gentleman from Costco, probably wait until we have the public hearing, and then you can talk on it a lot. Okay. And Mrs. Walker, would you please come to the podium?
She
I'm
also
sorry?
wants to speak on the public hearing item.
Yeah.
Now, though, I just have a question about the notice of the hearing.
Oh, is it regarding the
Hearing.
hearing? Okay. Well, let's wait
Want me
until
to
we
read?
have that. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Seeing no one else, I will close oral communications. Planning Commission and Airport Zoning Commission consent calendar. I believe there are no items.
No items.
Okay. We'll recess the Airport Zoning Commission and do the Planning Commission consent calendar. Are there any items?
No items.
Okay. Continued public hearings. Do we have any continued public hearings?
No.
No. Okay. New public hearing. Conditional use permit number 2019 CU02. Now is the time and place to open the public hearing to consider conditional use permit number 2019 CU02. Senior Planner Chris Palmer will present a staff report.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. 2019 CU02 is a request to modify an existing building to operate a hand car wash. It's on the corner of 126th Street and Prairie Avenue on the the northwest corner. The zoning is C3 General Commercial. It complies with the Hawthorne Municipal Code. They're going to make some upgrades to the site. They're adding 509 square feet of landscaping. The code requires about 315 square feet. They're going to have the ability to stack at least 9 cars in the stacking area, and they're proposing the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. with approximately 6 to 9 employees. This is a picture of the existing site, and if the item is approved tonight, this is a rendering of what the proposal will do. They're going to add some color to make it pop, and put in their logo. Here's another before picture, and then here's an after picture with the landscaping and the treatment to the building. This is the circulation pattern. The applicant actually did propose 3 different types of circulation pattern, but the pattern that you see before you is the recommended pattern from the Planning Department and the Public Works Department. What this demonstrates is the internal circulation. The vehicles that are in red is where the vehicles will stack, and the green is the exiting, and the blue is where they will do the hand washing and the detailing. So in this picture, it demonstrates that no vehicles are allowed to enter into the project from Prairie. You have to enter it off of 126th Street and turn into the alley. The conditions of approval require that signage be posted to demonstrate, no entrance or exit only, and signs guiding patrons towards the alley entrance. And so what they're planning on doing is cutting 3 bay doors in for entrance and exit, and doing an interior remodel to create a lobby space. Planning Department recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the attached resolution recommending approval of the project. It is categorically exempt from CEQA as it is existing building, and they're not proposing any new square footage. This concludes my report, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Okay. Does the Planning Commission have any questions for staff? This is the time for questions of staff only. I think
I have a question. Was there any like traffic studies done or circulation studies done for this project?
No, we showed the 3 different proposed ingress egress to the Public Works Department, and this is what they proposed.
Okay.
And they were not required to do a traffic study.
Mr. Ortiz, you have any questions?
Just to follow up on that, why weren't they required to do it? Yeah, is there a reason why they weren't required to do a traffic
This is not
study?
a use that typically requires a traffic study. Everything that comes into the city for discretionary approval goes to the Public Works Department, and we rely on their recommendation as to what needs a traffic study or what does not.
I have a question. Could you bring the last screen back up? You say they cannot enter off of Prairie?
Correct. So the green vehicles that you see are exiting vehicles.
Okay, so the red dot from Prairie onto 126 as they come in through the back of it, right?
Yes, they can turn in off of 126th Street, so that the red dots show the pattern down 126 or west on 126, and then north into the alley.
Okay. So the green to me looks like they're coming out onto Prairie. Am I right?
Correct. They'll be exiting,
Okay.
and they have to have right turn only signs posted at the exit.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Is the applicant present? Do they wish to speak?
Yes, the applicant is present.
Would you care to speak at the podium?
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Douglas Peters. I'm the architect on behalf of the Excellent Car Wash team. We love the site. We love the location. And the idea of putting the lobby out front and trying to rejuvenate that 1950s building is part of our idea of putting people out there on the street, kind of helping to kind of enforce and I don't want to say police, but kind of keep an eye on the street and kind of keep an eye on that corner. And we felt like having that kind of green space with that tree right there would make a really nice addition. This is a hand wash and detailing, so there's nothing automated about the car wash. And so it's a sort of a lower volume type of car wash than you typically see with an automated kind of car wash. And so I think we're trying to keep respectful of that 1950s heritage and but give it some new life and some new character. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions of the applicant?
I'm just curious,
Yeah.
do you take reservations for having it done? First come, first serve. Rod, that ain't gonna help.
About how long does it take to wash the car? You said how
Could
long?
you speak that into the mic for the record, please?
Yeah, you have to speak into the microphone.
So there's
please.
different levels of service, but he said on average, 35 minutes a car wash.
35 minutes. Okay.
And then you're gonna do waxing and detailing also?
Yes.
That's what I wanted to hear. The place further down the road on Prairie is closed up now, so we don't have a detailing
That
shop.
was-
That's
yeah.
what I was gonna say, very similar operation, except that was a lot larger, that lot.
It was a lot larger
Yeah.
lot, but
And they were busy all the
they were
time.
busy all the time, but they're gone.
Yeah.
Gone. So those of us too lazy to do it ourselves is,
Okay,
Yeah, I feel like this would be a great business for that area, especially there's a lot of auto dealerships down that street and a lot of car service shops in that area. So I feel like you guys are gonna probably see a lot of customers come in, and if the car wash is like 30 minutes, I'm probably guessing that you guys are probably have a lot of cars waiting to be serviced. So I'm not sure if this would be sufficient enough parking for the amount of cars that you guys are intending to attract. And then if the lot is big enough for this use, I feel like it should be contained all on site. I see a lot of the circulation being done in the alleyway, and there are some residential properties that utilize that alley. I feel like it should be contained all on site. It looks like there is like an 18-foot clearance behind the behind the building. I mean, if that's enough to get a car in there without having to utilize the alley, I think that would be a better circulation design.
I think they probably will be with that 18 feet. We were trying to be as cautious as possible with that, just getting the turning radius inside there. But they're trying to, they'll try to maintain that, I think.
Yeah, along those lines, my concern is not so much utilizing the alley for access, but once cars start piling up, having that alley be blocked by cars waiting to queue up, and having an impact on the residents in the area. So, what would be your solution, or do you guys have a solution in mind for when cars start to pile up, wanting to get into a lot, and your 9 spaces of queue are eliminated, the spaces you show in red?
Well, the good news is you got 6 bays as well that the cars will be pulling into. And as you can see there, we have 3 more that can kind of go into that space to the outside, because there's already roll-up doors there as well from the loading dock on the alley side. So that gives you a total of 9 spaces plus another 9. So Abraham has spoke about the fact that he could probably stack even more in the red zone, between the red and the green, to allow even more efficiency there. We were kind of being as generous as we could with giving ourselves an 18-foot parking space as that car. The reality is those cars could be smaller, they could be bigger, but we think that's roughly where we are. Some of the other schemes had different ways of not utilizing the alley, but Public Works and Planning had requested us to use the alley.
Okay. Yeah, I think moving forward, I'd like to see some sort of condition that includes something like not allowing cars to queue up in the alley. I don't have any more questions.
Okay, thank you.
And then maybe also a condition, like behind the building, maintaining like a chain so that they aren't using the alley as a circulation area.
So that's to support the recommended condition of approval from Commissioner Ortiz.
Can you repeat that?
So if he's asking for a condition that restricts them from using the alley for circulation, and so you're adding to that by giving suggestions of the type of things they could use, like a chain to block it.
Well, I think he's talking about the part where they enter at.
Yeah, the
talking
red
about
portion.
I'm talking about the blue
Okay.
area.
Thank you.
So the area where the let's see, where the cars enter with D, E, and F, that blue area where they're circulating through the alley, have a chain there, so where they're just staying on the lot and not going through the alleyway.
Right behind the building, you say?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have speaker cards for 2 people, so I'll start with Miguel Gallardo.
Hello, Commission. Thank you for welcoming people from the community. I am the general manager of the Costco across the street from the property, and I'm grateful that the city is looking to rejuvenate that corner that's been vacant for a long time. I put 2 notes on my note card there, concerns about wastewater, because it appears there's going to be a clarifier under the property, but being familiar with wastewater issues, any wastewater that ends up in the alley or on Prairie or on 126th is going to get, kind of driven through and brought into our community, into that part of the street. So I just have some concerns about that. I'm not saying it's not already dealt with or being managed in the architectural drawings, et cetera, but that's just a concern of mine, being in that neighborhood. The second thing I think I put was the traffic flow, but you've clarified some of that today because on the original proposal there were 3, and that makes it much more clear on how the traffic flow. I'm sure our community, the commission is aware of some of the accidents that have happened, even in the past 2 years that I've been at that Costco. There have been some pretty serious accidents on that that intersection of 126th and Prairie. So anything that alleviates or slows down the traffic as cars are exiting the property there would be highly welcome and very, very important to the safety of that intersection. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Through the chair, is it possible for the applicant to address that comment about the wastewater? If he knows if the entire site is all going to drain to the clarifiers?
Yeah, what I'd like to do, though, is I'd like to let the other person, Mrs. Walker, speak, and then after that, we'll call the applicant back up to address the issues.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Lorelia Walker. I'm just concerned that I received notice of this through the Hawthorne Press Tribune, published on April 4th, and the meeting was noticed for April 20th, which is not accurate. And I'm concerned that other people who didn't get notice because they reside in the area, but who nevertheless might have wanted to attend, had no way of knowing what the correct date was, because I never saw a correction published. And I just wanted to bring that to the commission's attention, because I don't think that that constitutes proper notice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I believe that there was a typo, and that's why we noticed it in more than one space. It's on our website, and the property owners were noticed as well.
Okay. Okay, would the applicant like to come up and address the issues that gentleman from Costco had?
Yes, so the car washing is going to happen within the building itself. And so part of our design is to actually maintain that water within that building. There will be some drying on the outside, but that's why we're sloping to an exterior drain that will go into that clarifier, just to be sure that anything that gets captured can be captured in that clarifier as well. We're going to need to work through with civil to make sure that we're not just getting rainwater that is when no one's using that space and filling the clarifier. But that's the idea from this point, is trying to reduce that as much as possible.
And they're also required to comply with the NPDES and submit plans prior to approval.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Okay. Mr. Palmer, are there any documents to place into the administrative record, such as
No.
late communications? Nothing, okay. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any final comments on this item or questions from the staff?
I had a question for staff. For the notice to the owners, did that include the correct date for the
Yes,
meeting?
it's part of your staff report. And it's attachment 3.
So the notice requires to notice the owners plus one publication?
Yes, and so we posted online, and we posted at City Hall as well.
Okay, that counts as a,
Yeah, so it's a minimum of 3.
okay.
I just think that this particular corner and the old complaints about the area being blighted, this is an improvement over what it looks like today. It gives another opportunity for us to have your car custom washed and detailed. And it is across the street from another area, the Costco fueling station, which has a bit of a traffic flow issue sometimes, because I really like that gas station, but you got a long wait some days. But they're open from 9 to 5, is that correct? And 9 to 5, if they're out of there by 5 or the traffic slows down, that's not an overly congested area. And I just work across the street at the airport, so it's easy to know that coming out of the gate at the airport on right across the street practically from that building, it's good access during the better part of the workday. It's not that crowded or busy on that side of the street. Right at work letting out, 5 and later, it's a mess. But looks very good to me. Looks like a real improvement for that particular section right there.
Someone, any comments? Nothing? Okay, I now formally close the public hearing on this item. Call on my fellow commissioners for a vote on the item. Do
How
I have
about a
motion?
recommendation?
I'm sorry?
How about a recommendation? I move
Okay,
to approve conditional use permit 2019CU02.
I second,
Yeah.
I'll,
With the recommendation that we have during peak hours, a way not to use the alley clear to the patrons that are using it.
I'll second that with the conditions mentioned originally, I guess. That's what you're referring to, right, Commissioner Carey? The conditions that we mentioned earlier?
Right.
Okay.
So I'll draft those conditions and have them for you.
Mr. Palmer, will you call the roll, please, call for the vote?
I think you have a first and a second. Commissioner Caraveo,
I approve.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Carey,
Yes.
Chairman Smith,
Yes.
passes.
Thank you. So the motion passes. And it's approved. We'll now recess the Planning Commission, call back to order the Airport Zoning Commission. For the Airport Zoning Commission consent calendar, are there any items?
No items.
Airport Zoning Commission new or continued public hearings.
No items.
Now I'll call back to order the Planning Commission concurrently with the Airport Zoning Commission. Are there any administrative items?
None at this time.
Okay, Commissioner reports. You have anything more to add? Or?
I don't have anything.
Nothing to report. Yeah.
I went to Fort Worth Monday and passed the flight tests, and my job start date is April 29th. I have a job finally.
Oh, I thought you had a job.
I had 3, but I'm going to only have 1, and my wife is very happy about that.
All right,
I'll be
congratulations.
working for the FNAA.
Oh,
It's all good.
okay.
Nothing else.
Okay, sir, if there's anything further from commissioners, if not, the meeting is adjourned at 6:25.